It took an LCQ run and a sprint through the play-ins earlier this week, but the world champions are here, and their trophy case still has a little more space. G2 is already locked and loaded, and now it's time to see if Japan's best team 2 stages running is capable of saying the same. I'm Jacob, I'm here with Jack, and we're also here with the illustrious 14-time LAN attendee and former 6 Invitational world champion, Gabriel Laxingmirales. Dude, welcome to Georgia. How's it been treating you so far?
It feels good to be here. It's nice to be at my first major. It's a whole different animal, whole different beast, but super exciting nonetheless to be again here with you.
Yep.
And then here with my EU brother now. It's super exciting to be here.
How's it feel to welcome this guy to the analyst family?
It's absolutely amazing. Do you know what? I'm collecting tallies. This is the 3rd world champion that I've desked with now.
3rd, so
Fabian,
wait.
I've desked with Pengu.
Oh, true.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're genuinely just
I'm collecting
collecting
my own trophy.
You're going around the globe.
You're getting the Infinity Gauntlet at this point,
Literally.
dude. Yeah, I mean, any other world champion want to jump on him? Like, jump on a desk with Fresh? Anybody
I'm
interested?
looking around. I'm only seeing a few other world
Doki was,
champions
you
here.
know, taking a lot
Doki
of
was trying to
interest.
get on the
We
desk
don't
earlier.
go
No,
to the desk.
that's 100% true. We're talking G2 and SCARZ. Obviously, G2 had to make both the LCQ run and play through the play-ins in order to get here in the first place. But for SCARZ, they qualified as the first team in Japan. They got to skip the entirety of the play-in. So as far as this matchup is concerned, on paper, it's really cool because this is the first recorded time either of these teams have ever faced each other.
Yeah, that's the best thing about international competition as well. The analyst for G2 Titan has actually played up against SCARZ before when he was with Gaming Gladiators.
Oh, there you go.
In terms of the players, they have never faced each other before. It's 2 very different styles of Siege, and that's going to set us up for an absolute classic.
And both of them have already confirmed their placement for the 6 Invitational as well. So maybe this is only the first of many times that we end up seeing them play Lax. I mean, Japan versus Europe on paper is always really cool to watch.
I mean, I always wanted to verse a Japanese team when I played, but I never got the opportunity. So, and like we were touching up, these teams playing against each other for the first time. It's brand new little idiosyncrasies, what these teams do and how to counter. And most teams have a general understanding of how APAC plays or how EUL plays or how NAL plays. Like, everyone has that general understanding, but when you're actually in the lobby, that's when everything really comes to fruition of like, oh, this is actually what's happening. This is what I actually need to do or what I don't need to do in order to win these rounds or win these matches.
Yeah, SCARZ they have already got a little bit of a warming up to do because they haven't played any games so far. Jack, G2 already have. What am I supposed to be teeing you up for exactly?
Oh, so I got a direct quote from G2. I asked G2 to summarize what they are doing and what they're about this tournament.
Okay.
And I'm going to read it. And again, I'm going to look right down the camera and I'm going to say, this is not my words. These are G2's.
Okay.
Quotes.
Phoenix from the ashes on a return journey to prove that they are not utter dog shit. Here to prove some doubters wrong. And that is from G2 themselves.
There's nothing on his card.
We couldn't go through 2 maps without somebody dropping a word, man. It's happening so quick. This thing's already going to hell in a handbasket. Okay, so hold on. The quote relates to what exactly? Break that down in English.
They feel that they're on a redemption journey, right? Because they went to the top of the mountain, then they fell hard.
Yep.
Copenhagen, big disappointment for them. EUL, huge disappointment for them. They've had 2 roster changes since they won the Invitational, and for them, they feel like they're back, and they're ready to prove people wrong now. Achieving 6 Invitational was big for them. They've done that. That's done. Now it's just about proving to everybody that they are still king of the hill.
General observations about G2, Lex?
I mean, I think it goes into what you were saying and breaking that down is I think maybe a little bit of ego was there. When you win that world championship, I mean, you're the best in the entire world. You're unstoppable. No one can touch you. But that also then kind of maybe plays into your how you play and how you treat other teams. And we saw on the EL stage, it wasn't the great, it wasn't the worst, but when you look at it, it doesn't look like the world championship roster that we saw. And then, we see them come into the LC. Well, they went through that run in general. They went through the open qualifiers. They went through the LCQ. They dominated that. They came here. Their toughest game was against Dark Zero, pushed them through here. Now they're playing an unknown team, so it's questions. Are you going to keep that ego that you had after you won that world championship, or are you going to treat this like any other game going into this and to continue that trend going forward?
Yeah, I mean, the storyline on the face of it is just world champion against an APAC team, but this is also, same thing with D+, this is the final Japanese team that's still remaining because both Crest and Cyclops both got knocked out in play-ins. So what are we talking maps specifically, gentlemen? Anything in particular you want to see us go to here?
I want to see a clubhouse.
You want to see a clubhouse in 2023?
I want to see
you
clubhouse
want that now?
I personally just like to watch clubhouse. I like to see it is a default map.
Well, we're not getting it. We're getting labs.
Well, that works too. I love that. I saw a lot in NAL. I mean, I'd like to say I'm a savant at watching Nighthaven because NAL played it nonstop.
That's
so
true,
this is nothing new to me.
The one thing I think about Labs is for G2 it is by far and away their favorite map, right? It's their #1 preference. They want to go there all of the time.
Yeah.
SCARZ have not played it. So when we talk about teams holding something back for the major, it's still high preference, but they've not gone to it. So SCARZ have very clearly seen something from G2, because G2 have played it a few times now. They've seen something, they've wanted to go here, and G2 have absolutely zero, like actually zero footage, because it's a new map. It's not even like it's a map that they've not played for a year and a half, and they go back. no footage on SCARZ on Nighthaven. So for G2, it's a big step into the unknown, but it is on their favorite map.
Right, but it'll be a really big statement win if SCARZ are able to win on it. But if for some reason G2 beat them on it, it's going to look like the worst ban phase known to man.
So this is what I want to say to this, and I do think it's a good pick from SCARZ, obviously, because there isn't information on them, and they do have the information on G2 on it. But the thing is that I want to reiterate throughout this cast in general is G2 have been playing their games. They got reps in where SCARZ doesn't. They, might have done their scrims, did whatever research they needed to do, but having those reps are so important. It can also be a double-edged sword, is where maybe when you have that time off, you get to relax, you get to chill, just do what you got to do. But then again, some teams need those reps. Some teams need those. I mean, some players need those reps. So it's a situation, sure, SCARZ maybe should come out on top because they have all the VOD and they have all the prep, but not having those reps, is that now going to show into their prep already going into it, but not actually being able to execute because they don't have those reps.
So we saw D+ come in earlier. They were the only team remaining in the region. And we asked the question, because they're the only team left in Korea, does that mean that D+ are also probably going to go the way of the dodo like their compatriots did? SCARZ are the only team left in Japan. Can we say the same thing about Japan, or do the two countries play Siege very differently?
From personal experience and watching it, to me, it's a little bit chaotic on all ends, but they obviously know what they're doing. They trust what they're doing, so I can't just write it off as, well, they don't know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and this is a best of one. So they could easily come out on top here having that information, but it really comes down to is, are they going to show what they are been doing the research or their VOD reviews, and are they going to implement that? And that's also to say, G2 could have switched something, and that can easily throw you off. You don't want to follow something down to a T, and I'll say this, and I've said it a million times, I know strats are only there on paper to give everyone a general idea of what you're doing.
Sure.
You have to be able to adapt in those mid to late rounds, and that's really what makes or breaks teams.
The one thing that I will say is that when I looked on paper, I thought this game had the biggest potential for an upset, because SCARZ are not just another APAC team. Yeah. They got all the way to the main stage of Copenhagen Major. They're very comfortable, they're very confident, and they've got a player that opens up rounds for them in terms of rec, that just constantly opens these rounds non-stop. He's one of the most aggressive players in the world, and he's one of the most confident players in the world. So if they've got that, and like you say, it's a best of one, I don't think this is just going to be another APAC team or another Asian Pacific team going up against a giant. I think there is genuine upset potential here, especially if they've done their homework on Nighthaven.
All right, we're going to see if the G in G2 stands for gigantic, or if it means another word that's considerably lower down the pile. Are they getting their first dub here in Swiss, or is SCARZ about to pull off the upset? It's going to be Ace of Pyrite and Desert Shoe with the call.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Indeed, Nighthaven, my favourite map, Tim. I'm absolutely delighted, but I'm sure many of you at home are here to see G2 start what could be a bit of a magic run. Or, Tim, if our last game suggests anything, the start of their downfall. We don't know what to expect coming out of SCARZ just yet.
Well, this is it. Our Phase 1 team didn't fare too well in matchup number 1. And it was, sort of very much the same layout. You've got a team in G2 who've come through, won both games. They head into this against, this time, a Japanese team. And SCARZ, let's not forget, got to the quarterfinals in Copenhagen. They went from strength to strength and then topped the Japan League in Stage 2, including wins against Fav, North Eption and Cyclops along the way. So picking up big wins in the playoffs. 2-0, I believe it was, against Cyclops as well, losing very few maps. SCARZ have really continued with that great form. It's a team that I am very excited to see here in Atlanta. I know that a lot of the neutral fans got behind them in Copenhagen. They had a big following back there in May, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are excited about seeing them as much as I am today.
Well, that's just it. They had a real big run in Copenhagen, impressed a lot of people and really surprised a lot of us, because we've cast SCARZ as an organisation for a few years, and I think when we first cast them in APAC North back in 2020, they actually started out really strong with the 5-0 beginnings and then just completely fell off the face of the earth, and they kind of then settled into being a very lower rated team, whereas now it could be a very different conversation. Bans coming through nice and quick here. SCARZ taking Monty away from G2, never a bad idea. And G2, we saw them pull out a couple of interesting bans during the play-ins. They're doing the same here. We're taking a Thermite offline.
Some might say it's funky.
It's a funky ban.
Taking the Thermite out. Not one that we see too often, as Army and Valkyrie pretty much stock standard. Not too much of a surprise there. The Thermite, I mean, obviously you're looking towards your hard breaching, particularly on Nighthaven. There's a number of big walls that you want to breach, depending where you're attacking onto. Top floor, there's a number. There's the IT wall, then there's the connector wall. There's all sorts that you can open up. There's even, depending how you're attacking it, potentially the warehouse this side as well to open up into. So there's lots of options on that top floor for breaches. Same again down on the bottom floor. You can get yourself into Exo and open the wall up. You can get yourself down cargo stairs. You can do the triple wall straight into site. There's a lot of hard reinforced walls, particularly into that top and bottom floor site. We are going to kick things off on the top floor for SCARZ. So G2 going to have to think creatively around their own ban. They were the ones who took Thermite out. So
the thing
they've
is,
got other options.
We see a lot of ace on this map, though, so I don't think it's going to be the end of the world, but obviously you don't ban a mine operator for no reason. G2 have had a read into this and know that SCARZ likely play it a lot on their attacking side of this map, so just trying to make them at least a little bit uncomfortable, and we'll see the impact of that come the second half. To get things off, though, it's G2 on the attack. They've got the Maverick on side here in Virtue's very capable hands, and that Ying and the KB combo, the fact that she's not banned him, I expect we're going to see her pretty much every single round.
Yes, I'd have thought so. Going to be plenty of that. Ooh, just look at this. We've got a jump out, but Dorky is more than ready for it. He's going to take down Fishlike, and that's going to be a big opener. That's a loss for SCARZ, is that. Solis off the board, Roma gone, a bit of freedom underneath. Think about which site we're on. We're on the top floor. Solis can deny the plant from underneath. That is a big, big gamble from SCARZ, and it has not paid off.
But if it had paid off and they got rid of Doki, for example, that's 2 phone calls that the KB taken away. If it's the Ying, it's all those Candelas removed. You just get so much power by taking off a key operator or two, and Doki almost lost his life there. Not 100% where from, but did get tagged on his way through. You got Pion hanging at the top of Aqua here as well. In comes the push at the back of those Candelas. We've seen teams do this more and more, is using the Candelas to actually let you enter into the building or a certain area rather than strictly an execute. It's just a very easy way of not having to drone through and play for a 2v1. You can just make use of the Candelas. Wreck falling down to Alamau here, and Washoy playing a little bit further at distance here, being challenged from two sides, has no idea what to do, and Benja takes him for free from underneath.
G2 are looking pretty hot in round one, and we're going to have Alamau and Dorky picking up those final 2 kills. Good to see Alamau's new haircut has not affected his ability inside of the server. He's still going to be finding those kills too for him on the round. And
I love when he walks through the lobby, and it's the fact that he'd like shaved all of his facial hair, he cut everything down. He looked like something like a nutcracker around Christmas. I was just like, it's like almost perfect for it. I mean, we're not quite at Christmas just yet, but here we go.
we've a ways to go.
1 and 7, so. A little bit of joking in the chat from the guys as well. Doki saying, don't worry, guys, you can still 7-1 us. It's all good. It's all good. On we go to round 2 then. This time round, imagine we're going to see some more of that aggression coming out of SCARZ. And I say that because as a region, they're known to be very, very aggressive. I talk about it all the time, but a clip that Mag posted a good few years ago of a scrim against Cyclops, 4 players just jumping out of windows and doorways on Clubhouse all at the same time, just shows what that region has really got baked in. So don't expect to see SCARZ back away from this one and wilt off like a dying flower. They will keep on going for this kind of aggression and trying to upset G2 before G2 can look towards executing.
Okay then, let's get round 2 underway. SCARZ, yeah, definitely need to take the fight to G2 here. They need to get some joy out on their own, particularly for this one. They're going to be defending basement, but as you can see, there's a presence, even including reinforcements and utility, all the way up to the top floor, which is where that Solus is going to be playing. So it's going to mean a full map clearance to come out from G2, realistically. You can sometimes ignore the roamers, but I think they're going to have to be particularly cautious of that here.
It's a lot like playing on a Clubhouse 3-floor roam, you know, SSG roam as it used to be called back in the day. These days it's just a Clubhouse roam, but you have the ability to drop in through hatches pretty quickly. There's one inside of vending, for example, or Exo that gets you straight back downstairs, and generally in a pretty good spot. So when you know there's a lot of heat starting to build up on site itself from the external facing breaches, these roamers can be back on site inside less than 8 seconds or so. So it's good to really try and challenge G2 and stretch them and have them come and challenge you across the entirety of the top floor. For now though, G2 are just saying, you know what, ground floor is good enough for us, and Rek loses out, getting 2v1, but Benja's the one who secures the kill.
I think Rek just overstayed his welcome there. He knew that the challenge was coming. Benja does find it. Pion is there to pick up Dorky though, so that keeps things nice and level for SCARZ. Fishlike is the big question mark for me on the Solis. How are G2 going to deal with this directly, or are they just going to try and leave him out in the cold and catch him on a rotate later in the round with those flank watchers? But Washoy, he's got himself out there as well, and still plenty of work for G2 to do to clear out these roamers, and losing the Dorkaby is not not going to make that any easier.
They know that he's upstairs, but he is a mile away from the action because now Pion's gone down as well. Really could do with being revived here as well because he's the one holding that cargo side of the map. With Shoy upstairs by himself, Tayu finding one back the other way. So it's not the end of the world, but Benja's not going to miss those. He had a pretty quiet play-ins, but it's 3-0 so far, Tim.
Pion will be collected on the castle. Washoy taking a ton of damage. Will do well to get himself back to site now. He's going to continue playing up on that top floor, but I can't see him having too much of a direct impact on the rest of the round. Being so little health, he's really going to have to play it safe and pick his moments. Benja manages to find another up above. Des, they've got less than one full player in terms of collective hit points here of SCARZ. They've all been beaten down to 20 or less.
But Washoy is still roaming off around, working his way in through cargo. Could move his way through here and find a couple of players. One coming in blind, but
that's the problem.
Alamau has found his man with only 1 HP. No headshots required, just hit the body.
That's the problem. You can go in, you can even catch somebody on the flank side like that. Alamau doesn't know exactly where he is, but he only needs to hit an arm, a leg, a hand, a tooth, anything will do, and it'll get the job done. And Washoy loses out. So 3 versus 2 now. G2, 30 seconds left to go. They can start working in towards site, and Uno indeed is going to start getting that diffuser down on the ground.
They've got the vertical cover lock. One that can come through Exo, one inside of Assembly itself. Nothing can really stop him here, and sure enough, Alamau's going to find one. Great shot from Pion onto Uno though, but the verticals are working against them. And sure enough, Benja's up there. Love the strategy from G2 in this round. Initially they started out with hatch control, and you saw that when Doki died early on. That was them being maybe a little bit complacent for a few seconds, but the whole goal of isolating that top floor player and catching him when he came back down towards site, really smart. And the same then through the verticals, looking down into site itself. Everything was about hatches and vertical play, and they played it to an absolute T. A very early SCARZ timeout coming in here, just 2 rounds into the game, Tim.
That's it. You'd usually maybe see that third round, particularly for defenders. You'd, you know, give your whole rotation a go at least, but no, SCARZ deciding that G2 have maybe just looked a little bit too good for them so far. G2, to be fair, are looking pretty on it today.
Hot, yeah.
They are not messing about. Everybody out on the roam for SCARZ just feels to be in peril constantly. They seem to be... the big thing I'm picking up is every time we see one of those roamers POVs, they seem to be between a rock and a hard place. G2 are playing in pairs very, very well, and they're creating those sort of XV1 situations. They're really getting on top of those defenders out in the map.
Well, it's going to be a step back up to the top floor by the looks of it for SCARZ in round 3. So they've tried top floor, they've tried basement, they've lost both. They're going to retry that top floor. See what they can get away with here. Changes-wise, not a whole lot looking at the operator lineup here. The Fenrir on side, the Soul is there, the Mirror, we've seen it all before. Really, it's going to be about what they change because the onus isn't on G2 to change here. They had this figured out back in round 1. It's on SCARZ to bring something new to the table that forces G2 into a difficult spot.
The location of a bomb.
Exactly that. Like you say, it's pretty much...
The shield in Aqua's a good start.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they had the Banshee out there last time, I think, to try and slow things down. Didn't do too much. We'll see where Rec places those this time. Always like to keep an eye on that. But Tayu on the mirror window is going to be looking out into Connector, which will, on the halves off wall as well, make it more difficult. There we go. We have the Banshee out on Aqua as well. So going to make it a difficult push in from that side. I need to ask one of the players. I've spoken about this before. When it comes to Banshee placement, I'd much prefer the second one that we've just seen there to the first one. So the first one was put on the wall, halfway up the wall. The second one was placed on the floor. My mentality has always been stick it on the floor because
they've got to aim downwards.
They've got to aim downwards, and it, you know, gives you even a half a second. It gives you an advantage in a fight versus if they can just flick to the wall and keep the crosshair at that height. It's been my logic. I need to ask one or two of the players and see what their thoughts are.
That's one for later on after the games are all done and dusted, I think, Tim.
Yeah.
Virtua getting to work on, I imagine this is IT Wall here, getting this one opened up. There we go. In fact, no, sorry, it's on the connector, looking straight in towards jungle instead. It's Fishlight coming up into face-to-face emergence with one. It's with Doki. Doki simply can't win this one out. Fishlight is down to half HP, but he's finally found some success out on that roam. could make things a little more difficult now because they don't have the Decabi on side, but G2 need to respect the fact that there's a roamer or two out around the map.
Yeah, despite the great play from G2 so far, that's 2 rounds in a row that they've given away the Dokkaebi in the first minute of the round and not really had the advantage. You know, we've seen, there we go, Virtue's going to pick up Fishlack, so a late trade coming in there. Washoi's going to be in a difficult position potentially here. The Dreadman just signaling the position. He is indeed chasing, doesn't know 100% which way this player has gone. Is going to spray down the grid, but can't find the kill onto Benjo. Well played from Washoi there. I wasn't sure that's how that one was going to end, but he gets the job done.
Benja should have had him dead to rights every single day of the week there. First slip up by him in the game. You're not going to complain too much when he's already sat at 4 kills, with that being his first death. But for the first time, G2 are behind in numbers. They're in a 3 versus 4 here, and this roam game from SCARZ in this round has at least worked out by finding Doki early on, by Benja having a bit of a rough team fight. A 1v1 there a second ago. Just show that actually maybe that timeout has done some good for SCARZ, despite it being so early into the game.
Yeah, possibly. There's still 50 seconds left to go and change here in round 3. They're going to be getting the IT wall opened up, so that gives a little bit of access for Virtue. You've got to, you know, keep an eye on the fact that G2 did ban out the Thermite, and it is forcing them onto those other hard breach options. It hasn't caused them a real issue as of yet, but still something to keep an eye on. We haven't had the Ace or the Hibana brought along. It's only really been the Maverick option.
Yeah, and the hard breach in the back pocket of Alamau as well. We saw a few teams mess this up. I think actually it was yesterday we saw this coming in, where teams just don't bring along the second hard breach. Even gadgets, you lose your primary breacher, you're screwed. But Uno, forget about the bounce, forget about the shield, forget about the player behind it, just marches on forward, takes the 1v1 and gets the win, but didn't know about the player behind the bomb. Chassis will pay the price for that one. It's down to the last one, just Virtue against 3. A mirror window in his way. They know that it's coming in via electric. This one is going to be an easy 2-player swing, and they should be able to walk away with it. The Fenrir also helping out. There's no way through for the Aussie. SCARZ will get themselves their first round on the board.
A ton of utility being thrown in Virtue's direction there. Absolutely nothing that he could do. And SCARZ, as you say, come on the back of that tactical timeout, get themselves a round on the board, and that might just start to slow G2 down a little bit. You know, I look at that round and I've got to start focusing. I didn't quite finish what I was saying because the action kicked off, but Doki has lost that Dokkaebi twice in 3 rounds now within the first minute.
With phone calls left as well.
Exactly that. That was, you know, the point I was coming to was we've seen the ban rate for Dokkaebi. We've seen, you know, effectively, I wouldn't call it necessarily the fear of that operator, but when a ban rate comes in, as it has done for Dokkaebi so far in this tournament, it goes to say that nobody wants to play against the Dokkaebi. Everybody's concerned about those phone calls, so if you're going to bring it along when it is available, you've got to be making more use of it.
I mean, really, was sure there for me. Those 2 kills, the whiff from Alamau and from Benja, like, he should have been dead to rights every single day of the week. So that for me really was the difference maker in that round. Fishlight getting the 1v1 into Doki, and then Washoi. I'm not going to take it away from him and say he just got lucky, because he absolutely didn't. He won the gunfights, but G2 have whiffed there what really should have been a very simple kill for Benja in the first place, and may well have led to a round win. Round 4 then, back down to the basement, so only seeing these 2 sites coming out so far. Imagine once again we'll see a roam game coming out from SCARZ, and it's on G2 this time round to not lose 3 players trying to deal with those roamers.
Let's see if SCARZ can have a more productive second defensive half, as they've got 3 more chances to try and bring the score back a little bit more to their favour. Basement it will be. We've got a little bit of a stack up down there towards the bottom. We've got this time, we've spoken about the hard breach, and they've brought along the Ace and the Thermite. Sorry, the Ace and the Thatcher this time. So the target is going to be getting that wall open. Benja does manage to pick up Fishlack, so whilst Fishlack did manage to pick up the entry in the last round, he's going to be punished again. And Benja gets himself a second. This time it's Reku who gets taken down. Benja might have missed a couple of shots last round, but doesn't miss a single one this time.
I mean, the beautiful thing is now they know this round is so easily winnable. They've still got all their utility. They've got the breaching charges if they need them. 9 of them. The last call's coming out. They've got the Glaz to play behind. They can even get vertical control here if they want. And Doki almost whiffed a shot onto Washoi, but does make sure last round's mistakes have been course corrected. A 5v2, plant going on down. They will blast it out at least temporarily, but I don't think this is going to be anywhere near enough. Benja's onto a 3K in the round, nearly makes it a 4. Tayu just managed to find him out, but he's 1 versus 4. Tim finds himself a second. Will he be able to find a third here as well? A distance sees his man, but can't quite connect. Doki gets the close. G2 with round 4.
Yep, G2 coming strong, coming back strong after that round loss that they had, and that was looking much more like round 1 and 2 there. They really stacked it up and got the job done quickly. Benja with the big double entry really powered them into the round. Again, G2, for me, one of the big keys is they just look like they know everything that's going to go on ahead of them in the map. They understand where Fishlike's going to be. They understand where the other roamers are going to be. They go in, the challenge, they do it in numbers. They're just working really, really well together as a team, and at the same time having a good understanding of what SCARZ are going to do.
Here we go then, 2 rounds for SCARZ to try and bring this back to a 3-3, though with how things are going, a 5-1 I think is everybody's expectation. No timeout available. SCARZ did take that after that second round. They did go on to win that third, but things are very firmly back in G2's control here. Just tightening up any loose screws and making sure they've got this roam game more than dealt with. It really seems to be the aim of those last couple of rounds.
Going to get on into it then. Round 5 it will be. 3-1 to G2. And SCARZ just sort of left scratching at the minute, scrabbling to try and find anything that they can. We're going to have a new site in
storage,
this game. It's not top, it's not bottom. As you say, it's going to be storage on the ground floor this time around. Storage is an interesting site, as is kitchen. Both of the sites on the mid floor, on the ground floor, are interesting in that they have external windows into them. Obviously, in some of our maps, such as Villa, it's not a competitive map at the minute, but Villa, we do see that there are no sites with external windows in, and then some have lots. But interestingly, thank you very much, we do have an external window, so something that can be played around. Of course, there is a little wall as well as soon as you go in there that you can sort of get in, get a bit of cover, and use it as a direct foothold into the site itself. So it's always an interesting mechanic.
There you go. I think that's Garage being opened up there as both those hard breach charges go off. Uno did the hard work of getting things opened up for them. And otherwise, it's been the Benja trying to work in downstairs after he's been helped out by the Ace to get that downstairs wall opened up. Sorry, it was IT, not Garage. So really 2 different ends of the map here. But down the basement, down the top floor, trying to work forwards. And I did wonder when we might see Benja normally is the go-to fisherman with these nades, but 1, the player runs away, 2, he gets swung on in the basement. SCARZ reading G2 like a book, but it's 4v4 and the plant was going down a second ago. Pion finding out Doki, a trade back the other way as Fish falls down as well. Alamo into another, and Uno's going to try and stick this one this time around.
Yeah, Uno's been doing a great job of getting into those planting positions. Will be successful once again, and it's just inside that window that I spoke about, Des. It has got to be one of the focuses. If you're on a bomb site that has an external window, guess what attackers are going to want to do? They're going to want to jump in through that window and slap the diffuser down on the ground because it's the quickest route to doing so. So you have to manage it. You have to ensure that it's been dealt with. That particular window, there is great vertical coverage from beneath, for example. It's not something that SCARZ were able to take advantage of. G2, however, they get the job done. That's going to be 4-1.
And they just really marched on through in that round. Alamo in particular, a 4K. Benja in the previous round, a 3K. This is the problem sometimes, well, not really the problem, it's a big benefit for them. G2 can just be so hard to deal with when it comes around to the fragging capability that we've always seen them pull off what I've called hero plays, where each round a different player can rock up and get a 2, 3, a 4K, and that kind of achievement is enough normally to just that heavily tip around over to your side that it can be so hard to stop them. You know, Wilshoy was the player who got a 2K back in round 4, or round 3, sorry, but the last couple have really come down to Benja and Alamo just absolutely popping off.
You're my hero, Des.
Thanks, Tim.
No problem.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
I love the events just because I get to stand next to you for 2 weeks.
Oh, that's real nice, mate.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
You didn't like it on the other day we had Halloween, though. I was poking you with that trident all day.
Wasn't the best day that I've ever had stood next to you, I'll be honest. There's been better.
But very, very fun. Very, very fun. This is just Alamo, like I say, popping off a 4K for himself. Dipping, diving, ducking, dodging. Taking everything that he needs to. G2 up 4-1, and as said a couple of rounds ago, 5-1 feels like the only conclusion that this half can get to, unless SCARZ can pull something out of the bag here.
Mine active.
Uno just prepared for the aggression that might come out of SCARZ, but will not. They seem to have tempered that for the final defensive round here. Very much focused around site instead. The Dokkaebi not being brought along for G2 as it's not really paid dividends massively. You know, we've commented on it a couple of times, not really seen too much effective use of it, so instead bringing the Finker, who again has risen to a bit of prominence again.
Wonder why.
Certainly, I can't imagine the 2 items in her pocket that may well have seen Finker come back into the fold. But yeah, we've certainly seen a lot more Finker with that universal
here we go.
healing ability. We're going to have a double challenge here. They're going to lose one, but Uno's there for the trade. Can he get a second? No! It's going to be an aggressive push from G2, but overall, it's going to be punished. But Benja, he's in! He's getting killed! He's got another!
He's absolutely nuclear to their third. Anyone else want to line up? The man's on a 3K. It started so well for SCARZ. 3 players all pushing catwalk together, but they've been absolutely deleted by Benja. 3K for him, 2 rounds this half, he's done that. Absolutely dominant.
What a speed run of a round from G2 there, as you say. Just the double push from Doke and Uno to try and get themselves going, but all it did was make a lot of noise over here, whilst over there was the real danger that was Benja creeping his way in to pick those kills up.
Just made it look pretty simple that half, I think, really, G2. Wouldn't be surprised if a 7-1 is what we are marching on towards here as well. Even with the going on to the defensive side, this one feels like a bit of a foregone conclusion.
We can just see it here from the reverse perspective, as Pion did manage to get himself a double, but it just wasn't enough because, as I say, the damage wasn't really being done in front of them. It was indeed behind, where Benja was just sneaking through. 1, 2, 3, easy as that. And I think it was Virtue who picked up the final one. G2, they're just looking to me like that team that we see out of G2 sometimes, where they're just enjoying the siege.
They absolutely are. And guess what? We've got a special guest. We've got Titan on the line here as well, tuning in. Hey, Titan, how's it going?
Hello, hello. Thank you.
How do you think about that first half, mate? That looked like absolute dominance from you boys.
Yeah, so far, I think, even though these guys haven't sort of shown the actual match on the map itself on any official, it's kind of more or less predicted as we expected with the way that they're playing. And for us, generally, just our general play style, the way that we want to do things, the way we want to sort of put pressure on teams, is being able to sort of be executed really, really well. And I think, as you can see with the individual performances from some guys, especially like players like Benja, for example, they're really popping off on this map, so it really helps us out like in the long term, and sort of just like the bigger picture is going quite well for us so far, and I think the same will carry over into defense.
Sorry, Dan. Yeah, looking great at the minute in that first half. Is it just sort of more of the same now? What is the expectations for this second half?
So second half is sort of play our game again, don't do too much, just sort of read what they're trying to do and just basically just analyze as we're going throughout the round, and just aim generally to just keep sort of the basic fundamentals that we need to do, and then we'll just be able to adapt on the fly as we go.
Absolutely legend, mate. Thank you very much for tuning in for this one. We'll catch you a little bit later on after the game.
Thank you.
Onwards we march then, Tim. Second half, as you say, now very firmly underway. And for a second, it looked like we might see SCARZ lining up to take out the Solus a couple of times with Uno, but no trigger being pulled.
Not at all. 1 minute into the round then. Nobody has been picked up yet for G2. All in positions, all happy, and just waiting. We've got Benja underneath on the Mozzie. He's going to be one to watch out for.
He loves the
he's
C4,
on the cam,
he does.
Suggests he's probably got himself a drone or two as well.
He loves the C4.
Benja playing in behind information, as you say, with C4 in hand. Is going to be a dangerous prospect for SCARZ. They really need to prioritise getting him cleared out.
But they have really stacked up here out towards this Aqua side of things, with the Blitz on side to come charging in. That on a gate, anything like a Melusi or a shield or even barbed wire in this case. I don't know about Alamau with a shotgun. Obviously the smoke is still in a really good spot here as well. They've got Legion goo mines coming down, lots to work with them. And at the same time, we've now got 2 players looking to push in on the other side of things. And Alamau, it's just all too easy. A single pump in, straight onto the head of Tayu, and finds a second. Someone stop this man today. Another smoke comes out, but G2 are just absolutely crushing them. They're pushing outside the building. It's a flawless round for G2.
Alamau at the top of Aqua Stairs. Absolutely wonderful there. Shotguns down the Blitz. Turns and gets a second through the punch hole. Just absolutely wonderful to watch. Just honestly, insert name for G2 at the minute. Yeah. You know, it could be Benja, it could be Virtue, it could be Alamau. They're all having their moments, and G2 just looking very, very dangerous.
They are. I'm not really sure if SCARZ are going to have it in the tank to stop them, to be honest with you, Tim. Nice little blast to the...
I'm already thinking towards tomorrow's matchups. I don't know exactly what they're going to be. The draw will be later, of course. And, you know, we've got 6 more games to come today. So we're going to have a lot of other, you know, we're going to have 6 more teams that are going to be on 1 win. But I look at it and I already think, imagine D+ versus G2.
It'd be fun, right?
Oh, what a match that'd be tomorrow.
Time will tell, Tim. We'll find out a bit later on today. But just looking again, look at the scores down the left-hand side of your screen. I know for like Doki and Uno and Virtue, it's been quiet. But at this stage, Benja and Alamau are just running away with the game. 21 kills across 7 rounds. An average of 3 between the pair of them here every single round that we have played so far. This could very well be the end of game 1 for SCARZ at the very least. G2 really, same as against Fury back in play-ins, not having to get out of first or second gear, to be honest.
No, this is it. You're looking, I said at the end of the D+ match, I'm going to say the same for G2 now. I know we're not quite there yet, but you just feel like there's a lot more in the tank as well. This isn't everything from them. This isn't, you know, this is, they're winning it well, but they're just doing what they need to.
It's as Titan said as well, we're just playing our game.
Yeah.
Like, obviously we haven't seen them on there before, but we're confident in what we've got coming into this.
Yeah.
So it kind of again, no need to get out of second gear, just play your game, don't do anything too fancy, and G2 are just looking very cool and composed right now.
Got to say another big thanks to Titan for joining us.
Yeah.
Well. Something a little bit new for Siege. I don't think I've seen that before, where we've actually had somebody from the team speaking to us during the game. You know, what a fantastic opportunity that was. So, you know, very much a big thanks to Titan for doing that and joining us. Here we go then. We're a minute into what could be our final round. This has been an absolute speed run of Nighthaven, lad, from G2.
Oh, God, I love watching this map. I'd love to see 15 rounds of it.
That's what I mean. I want a bit more of it. We've had about 15 minutes, let alone 15 rounds. We're 6-1 at the minute, and it's not looking good for SCARZ. Benja is going to be getting chased around by drones up on that top floor, playing the Solus this time instead of the Mozzie. Obviously, not really needing the Nitro, given that he's in a different position. He's being chased down by Washoy at the minute. He is going to take a lot of damage. They've doubled up on him, and that is good from SCARZ. That's what they need to be doing. Find the roamers, find the players like Benja, go in numbers. Exactly what G2 did to you. You know, make it so that there's nowhere for them to turn.
For me, it's just really good isolation play. I was speaking to Fox about this earlier, and it's like, you know, you'll hear calls in NA where they'll be like, right, isolate this guy, and that's exactly what they've just done. Full sending in for that guy, sent 3 in towards Benja, and have managed to take him out. So it's a start, but it took them a long time to get that done. We're already down to only 70 seconds in the round, and Alamau has balanced out the scoring.
I was just going to say, the problem is, right, you've got Benja. Great, now you've got to get Alamau. Okay, you get Alamau, right. Now you've got to get Doki. And that's the problem with this G2 side. They are becoming one of those sides where there's so many names on there that are going to step up. You know, it's what we've seen from big tournament-winning teams before. Rec on the Jackal, just trying to pick up some of them tracks to make it a little bit difficult for G2 to stay in their positions, but just being held at bay for the time being by that Toxic Babe. Going to start opening up some verticals as well.
Late, though, really.
Yeah, I'm going to say 30 seconds left to go. There's work that needs to be done, but they do start to do it as Tayu manages to get the kill onto Uno. It's all going to come down to a late round collapse from SCARZ.
There's a C4, there's a smoke in the back pocket for G2. They've still got so much to play behind here as well to waste more time or catch out SCARZ when they come and try and make an execute happen. Big drop around Animus here, trying to make their way forwards. Alamau has moved his way upstairs here. If he can find out the one inside control, that's absolutely massive. And now that he's got the vertical fish-like, it's a 1 versus 1, but Alamau simply has to drop down here when we're down to the last few seconds and finish this one off. This one is a foregone conclusion, I imagine. It only took about a half a millisecond there to get in and get him out. That's going to be G2 onto a 7-1, cruising through their first game here in Swiss.
Please stand up.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Alamau, and G2 has said a dominant victory overall in SCARZ. They'll be looking at that one and saying, well, let's just forget that ever happened.
Less hair, but not less volume from Alamau, which is what we like to see. G2, as you say, looking confident, looking calm, looking collected, looking like champions, Des, you know, which... They are our current reigning world champions, winning the Invitational at the beginning of the year, but they've yet to back that up, really. And I think, you know, they'll be hoping that Atlanta could be that for them. And, you know, what a performance to build off in Phase 2. Absolutely fantastic start for them.
Yeah, 18 kills across, 18 deaths, across 8 rounds for G2 there as well. Just averaging out about 2 per round or just over. It just looked confident. Again, not really having to get out of first or second gear. It was the same story against Fury. For DZ, we saw a very different G2 come out that did really have to battle for it. But overall, I just think that was smooth sailing. Let's go over to the desk where they've got more to say about this game.
Alamau cut his hair, was looking calm and ready, and then he turned into the real Slim Shady. G2 win over SCARZ 7-1, and we got Doki. Dude, that was quick. What the hell? Why, first of all, why did they go to labs? Because that seemed like it was almost one for you guys in the ban phase really, really quickly.
I mean, yeah, no, like we didn't know if they have info on labs because they never play it, I don't think. So we were like, okay, maybe they have something, maybe they're cooking something. They didn't cook, so
They did not.
I don't know. We're good at that map, I guess. So.
I mean, there's a deliberate reason you keep maps on the down low, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's plenty of footage on you guys.
Yep. Yeah. In labs, we played like 3 times, I think, or twice. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I said this during the post game. I mean, the pregame. I was saying they do have these VODs on you. We touched up on it, and I was saying, you know, are they going to actually apply anything? And like watching that game, you guys clearly, without knowing what they did, you guys were dominating them. You guys were taking the map control that you needed. You guys were taking the space. I also find it very interesting, and this is more of a question for you. So let's say, because you guys are like divided up across the map, entering at certain points, finding the gap wherever you need to find it. If they're doubling up and fighting you guys, what do you guys do if you then fall in that man disadvantage? Because you guys aren't in some positions to be able to get that trade.
I mean, what we did in that game, like not every game we play like that, but in that game specifically, like we knew that they're going to play this kind of split because that's how they play in the other games. Like they have strong individual players, so they're going to try and take the gunfights, right? So we kind of tried to just see where the weakest one is and just push, like find the gap type of thing.
No, I mean, you guys did it flawlessly. It clearly showed us.
It's me dying there. Don't look at that. Don't look at that, guys.
Clearly showed with the 7-1. I mean, yeah, you guys looked extremely dominant. And I also said, and this is another question, do you guys think during your guys' regular stage after winning the World Championship, do you guys think your ego kind of played into those summer matches, or do you think it just kind of was a fluke? You guys maybe had little mishaps, maybe a couple rounds that should have went a certain way, didn't?
Yeah, I think more so like that, to be honest. Like, after,
so there's no ego?
There is ego, of course, but in Copenhagen, for example, like I don't think we played bad. Like Liquid just played really good and they knocked us out, so it's like whatever. And on the online stage, this stage, like we played against Wolves and M&M, who are like really good teams, so it's like no problem to lose to them, like it's whatever. So yeah, I think, but we kind of reset after that, fix some issues out, and then we are here to play.
For
One game down.
Plan seemed like a really good warm-up for you guys, too, because it was 2 best-of-1s, and suddenly you're in Swiss. So anything specifically from that stage that you're taking into this one with you? Like, was it literally just getting acclimated to what it's like in Atlanta?
Exactly that. Like, I think we had good teams in our group, to be honest. Like, Fury was actually really good, and Dark Zero, you know, they're no joke. So, like, they're no joke.
Let me ask you one more question. So, I was talking about this as, you know, coming into playoffs or coming into play-ons, it's a double-edged sword. You get time off if you know, excelled in your region. You get to come in at playoffs. But coming into those play-ins, do you think that really is like elevating your guys' gameplay and really hitting the strides that you guys need to start at because you're getting these reps in? Because we both know getting scrims in versus actual reps in an actual pro match, completely different environment.
Yeah, like the play-ins that we even said, like last major, like we actually kind of wish we were in the play-ins. Yeah. The teams that there had just more, they had more to play, right? They had more experience and they're getting used to the land. So actually I'm curious to see how BDS and stuff do, like not having that experience, and who are they playing? Like they have a good opponent.
Space Station.
Space Station.
They have a good opponent, so that's going to be a good game. Like I think these guys are going to have an advantage because they've played a little bit, so let's see.
What are you guys going to end up doing in between now and when you figure out what your opponent's going to end up being? It'll happen later in the day, but what do you do for it in the meantime?
A little more partying like last night?
Yeah, just kind of chill.
Yeah.
Hey. We always say that when we come to an event, like there's no need to super serious like scrims and all that stuff. Like we already have done all the work and before it, you know, it's now time to make sure we're in good mental state, like good, you know, just relaxed, like not stressed about things. So
yeah, we
even said today, like if we lose today, we lose, like whatever.
Sounds good. Anything else you want to say real quick before we let you go? Anything to the fans?
Thanks to the fans for the support, and we'll be back tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. Doki, thanks a lot. G2, 7-1 over SCARZ. That bad boy is already done and dusted. And I think, Fresh, do you got something for us on the telestrator? I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about over there.
Yes, I do, Jesse. I'm over by the screen. Now, a lot of people talked about G2 as a very aggressive team, a team that won the round on kills. Now, I want to highlight Uno and what he's brought to the team. He's brought to the team this plant-focused siege alongside G2 Split Fury. Now, Uno wants to get a plant in storage over here. And what he wants to do is he wants to use the trigger point of the Solis, as you can see, who's just got the kill on Spendra Master. If Solis has just got a kill, Solis is not using the gadget to deny the plant. So we clear screen, we'll run the game through. Now, Uno gets in, gets the plant, realizes that the Solis is going to come back and try to get that kill onto him. What does he do? Jumps himself off of the plant, baits the Solis to throw the impact, and then eventually wins that engagement out onto the Solis. Now, with the Solis off the board, Uno can safely plant at the same spot inside of storage. What he can also do is have cover from Alamel, who is covering the doorway in from the catwalk area and the doorway in from games area as well. Virtue is holding the vertical above. So G2 have got all the right conditions to win the round on a plant, and this is one thing that they were missing previously. We'll let it roll through. Alamel will get the kill. Uno will start sticking the plant again, and it's a 3 versus 2. You can see Virtue's up here above, holding Rek. Rek eventually chooses to go down into the warehouse and attack from that, try and retake from that point of view. Alamau picks up 1, picks up 2, and that's the round done for G2. And this is what we didn't see out of G2 in Copenhagen. We weren't seeing them play for the plants. We weren't seeing them have multifaceted approaches to attacks. They just played for kills. Now they've got Uno. Now they've got a default approach as well as a split fury approach, and this is why they're looking so strong. Now I'm going to throw it to a break just before we have BDS against SSG.